all seen it coming. Eventually, we were going to get to and talk about the 1989 video game related film, The Wizard. So, let's discuss this movie. And like I said last time, we're not going to go into, whenever we do these video game movie reviews, we're not going to go super into detail about them, but we're going to briefly talk about the plot of the film, and we'll go from there. So the movie starts out with a little boy named Jimmy who suffers from post-traumatic stress disorder after witnessing the drowning of his sister 2 years prior. Oh boy, this is already starting to sound interesting, isn't it? Let's go on. So Jimmy is in a mental institution staying when his brother Corey, who is played by Fred Savage, busts him out. Their goal is to make it to Los Angeles. So when word gets out that the two boys are on the lam, the father and older brother go to look for them. And not only that, but the mother, or I guess you could say the father's now ex-wife, she hires a very sleazy child bounty hunter. Yes, Wikipedia defines him as sleazy. She hires this sleazy child bounty hunter to go look for him. So if you're wondering what my source for trying to jog my memory of the movie, actually I watched the movie twice prior to this to try to get an understanding of what's going on. The Wikipedia seems to help me remember certain things, but I just found it amusing. Wikipedia calls him sleazy, which is partly true because he's beyond sleazy. He's more than sleazy. This child bounty hunter is scum. to be, moving on. And first off, before we move on, I want to address, there are child bounty hunters, like bounty hunters looking for children. I didn't know those existed. So, apparently they do. So anyway, along their way, they meet a girl named Haley, who is apparently on her way to Reno. And they soon discover that Jimmy has a real knack for video games. As seen in the film, he plays several arcade games and shows off his skills. They soon learn that there is a video Armageddon being held at Universal Studios Hollywood. Yes, Universal Studios Hollywood, where the movies come alive. That Universal Studios Hollywood. Now let's pause right there for a minute. This movie had a lot of advertising of things in it, which we will get to near the end, but let's stop right there and talk about, actually, let's go back to the arcade games. The arcade games that is advertised, that's product placement number one. Mainly for Nintendo, but also for the individual games themselves. Product placement number two so far, Universal Studios Hollywood. So they soon find out they can use Jimmy's skills to their advantage by using him to hustle for some money to continue on with their journey to Los Angeles. Well, at this point, Universal Studios Hollywood. Then they meet a boy named Lucas, who is pretty much a stuck-up, pompous, you-know-what. We're going to keep it family-friendly here for now. So, the you-know-what, you just use your imagination and figure out you-know-what means. You know what? That's enough of you-know-what. Anyway, he's got a power glove, and he thinks that he is the baddest mamma jamma to ever grace the earth. That's the truth. He thinks this is, he did say it's the power glove, it's so bad. And I owned a power glove back in the 90s, the late 90s actually, I'll someday tell you my Nintendo story. That'll be an episode for season 2. By the way, this is the season 1 finale, so yeah. Anyway, he tells him, hey, I'm going to be entering this, he didn't say it like that, but he said, I'm going to be entering this competition too, and this makes Jimmy very nervous after he sees his mad skills with the power glove, apparently. So anyway, after this, they continue on with their journey to Universal Studios Hollywood. And if that isn't product placement in this video all at the same time. I don't know what is. So they continue training, and this is where product placement number 3 comes in. The Nintendo Power Line. The Nintendo Power Line was a service that you could call for tips and hints in video games, pretty much. And it was pretty helpful. I don't know if something like that still exists today. I mean, with the internet and everything. I knew it existed around the era of Nintendo 64. I mean, it was still out there, and I think it probably was still there around at least the first couple years of the GameCube. But I don't know if that still exists. If that still exists, please let me know in the comments, because I might do a video on that. I don't know yet. So there's product placement number 3 in this video, and well, can we already compare it to Mac and Me? Because Mac and Me had a lot of product placement for like a family movie. So yeah, moving on. And like I said in this video, we're not going to go like over every detail and every major scene and everything, but we're going to skip ahead just a little bit. Anyway, they finally make it to Universal Studios Hollywood, and that bounty hunter catches up with them, and they end up escaping from him. And Jimmy enters the contest where he first plays Ninja Gaiden, or I guess you could say Ninja Gaiden. I've heard it pronounced both ways, Ninja Gaiden, Ninja Gaiden. I've always pronounced it Ninja Gaiden, but that's just me. Everybody I grew up with always pronounced it as that. Like when I was a kid, every kid pronounced it as Ninja Gaiden. And I went to like 4 different schools when I was a kid. I mean, 2 elementary schools, 1 middle school, 1 high school. Yeah, that sounds about right. So there's product placement number 4, Ninja Gaiden. And that's not counting, I mean, this is just the most noticeable product placement. Actually, I'm going to stop at number 4. I mean, there's tons of it, but in the movie, there's actually product placement for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for the Nintendo Entertainment System. The older brother is seen playing it. So they play through the competition, and surprise, surprise, the surprise reveal of Super Mario Bros. 3 occurs, which is, at the time of the release of this movie, it was not released in the United States, so it was basically the big reveal. So there's another product placement there. And, well, Jimmy ends up winning. And with him winning, people don't think Jimmy is mental anymore. Yep. And Jimmy and Corey reunite with their family. In the end of the film, they end up at the Cabazon Dinosaurs. There, Jimmy leaves his lunchbox filled with the memories of his sister, and the film ends. So, what are my overall thoughts of the film? Oh, I have quite a bit of grievances to air on this film. First of all, I did not watch this movie as a kid. I actually didn't watch it until I was about 15 years old, which is quite a long time. So I probably don't have as many nostalgic feelings for it as, say, someone who watched it when it first came out, or someone who had the original VHS of it back in the early 90s. What exactly can I say about this movie? Well, I didn't really care a whole lot for it, despite it being video game related. Of course, like I said, I didn't grow up watching this movie, so I don't have the same feelings about it as other people would. I thought it was a product placement palooza, just like Mac and Me. Actually, I think I liked Mac and Me a little bit better than this movie. Of course, I know a lot of people like it. I mean, it was. I'm gonna say it was okay for me, as I thought it was okay, not great, not decent, but okay, but not terrible. If I was to recommend this movie, I would say, watch it maybe once or twice, and then, because after you've watched it once or twice, you've pretty much had all you can take for a lifetime of this movie. It's like that, there's a lot of movies that are actually like that, if you know where I'm actually getting at there. In all honesty, it's more of a movie for kids. I mean, there are some inappropriate moments in it, if you've ever seen the movie, but I would recommend it for maybe ages 10 and up to watch. And for a family movie, and especially, the type of movie it is, it's really dark. Like, it is extremely dark for a movie. Of course, I'm not saying that a lot of family movies in the 80s and 90s were pretty dark, but this one was, like, morbidly dark. And in case you were wondering, yes, I have finally reached the point where I can now declare that the movie is basically one big commercial for Nintendo, as well as publishers of games and Universal Studios Hollywood. And let us not forget that it also introduced Super Mario Bros. 3 to the world, and, well, there you have it. So, that's all I have to say about the Wizard today. I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and in case you're wondering, this is the Season 1 finale episode. We will return on August 17th with brand new episodes, and we will have all kinds of things to discuss by then, so while we're on break, try to be good. And most importantly, don't forget to like and subscribe, hit the bell if you want notifications of when we do more awesome videos, and of course when we return with Season 2, and a major one, share our videos with your family, friends, share them on Twitter, Facebook, whatever. Every little bit of support helps, and the more support I get, the more encouraged I am to make more videos. Of course, I do these, royalty-free, or I guess you could say without ad revenue. I do these completely free. I make no money on these videos. I do it just for the fun of it. So if you want to support me, like, subscribe, share, hit the bell. And until Season 2, I will see you next time.